Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts. It is now time for me to react to your Ben 10 hot takes. Now, the last time I did this, I had a friend of mine who helped me with the video where he gave me the comments. I reacted to him on the video and everything, and it was fun. It was really cool. He helped me once again with this, where he went through all the comments. I think it was yesterday, and he pulled out 15 comments and sent them all to me. I've not seen them. I've only seen a couple ones here and there because I was scrolling through my comments of just all the videos and everything, but I was trying not to read them. So I don't know what he's picked. I don't know. The only person I asked him to pick the comment from, in terms of going through all the comments, is from Ben 10 Theorist, because he's the guy who's been helping me for a long time through my Ben 10 journey and everything, helping with other videos as well related to Ben 10. So shout out to him. Of course, always shout out to Ben 10 Theorist. But everything else, I'm not sure, and I'm not sure what order, so we're just going to dive in here. We're going to check it out, and we're going to have a good time here. So like I said, there's 15 of them here, so grab a snack. Probably going to be here for a little bit. So let's dive in. Let's go. Okay. So starting off, JDog1337A. Omniverse Ben is the definitive Ben. Okay. Jokey most of the time, serious when the situation calls for it. I think that's a hot take. I think. Now, I understand the thinking behind it because Omniverse Ben has been through, obviously, Ben 10 Classic, Alien Force, Ultimate Alien. So he's now grown through all of that and all the craziness of being the person with the Omnitrix, the Ultimatrix, da 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 da. To me, definitive, I would say it's hard to say because I love Ben 10 Classic so much, and I really loved Alien Force. Ultimate Alien, it was still good, but I think to me, definitive, I think it's a mix between, at least for me, Classic and Alien Force. Like, I just love that era, like, a lot. And I'm loving Omniverse. I'm really enjoying it. And I did love Ultimate Alien for what it was. Some weaker stuff, but anyways. Okay, yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of a hot take for sure, because I love Omniverse Ben, but I do miss Classic Ben. I'm glad we're getting elements of that, in a sense, in Omniverse, so there's that. So, okay. Starting off pretty strong. Okay, here we go. Next here. It's me, nobody, 3837. I think I've seen this person's comment before. Big Chill in Omniverse makes more sense than Ultimate or UAF. Okay. Okay. He needs those big lungs to release air and ice. Also, the chest detail is miles better in Omniverse with the hair on it. Okay, so he's saying that the redesign in Omniverse for Big Chill is basically better and it makes more sense. Sure, but I still, no. It's a hot take for sure. There's like, it makes more sense. I actually think the redesign makes more. I just love that original design of Big Chill. I love that alien. To me, I think Big Chill is one of the best aliens ever introduced. I really do think so. So to say that, you know, the redesign essentially makes sense and it's better, that's a hot take for me, because I really miss that. Like, because when they did the flashbacks where we saw Ben with the green jacket and everything in Omniverse, and we're seeing like all the car being destroyed all the times, he was Big Chill. I'm like, wait a minute, that's redesigned Big Chill. Like, what the, timeline wise? But then again, you've already redesigned the character in the show. Like, why would you showcase, you know, the thin version? We've seen that alien. It was in Ultimate Alien. We saw other of that species, and they looked just like Ben, even though they were like different, like shades of like white and blue and all that compared to his. But still, yeah, it's a hot take. But okay, all right. Not everyone's gonna have the same opinion to me. It's completely fine. Okay, but that was good. Wow, this guy's like nope with a bunch of E's. Nope. 206. Hottest take ever. Okay, this is a long one. Here we go. Ben and Julie breaking up was the right thing to do. Ben was too arrogant, immature, and unavailable for Julie. Okay, yeah, that's fair. I guess that is true. There were good times, but she was too submissive and not assertive enough. She always let Ben get away with doing crazy ass shit. That is the best way to put it, in my opinion. Yeah, you're completely right on that. Especially him like borderline cheating on her. Yeah. I felt so bad for her. So yeah, OV. I guess Omniverse. Yeah, Omniverse definitely made the right move, but the way they handled it, or they did it, is questionable. Also, OV Julie is the best looking. Don't know about that last part there. I mean, I like the original design of Julie. I feel like the redesign, you know, I don't know. To me, I don't think this is really not really a hot take, because I feel like Ben and Julie, it made sense for them to kind of break up. They were going through some rough patches at one point during the run of their relationship. But I guess if you're someone who loved Julie so much and loved their dynamic, even though it was all over the place, and mentioning how Ben was just being an ass and shit and doing some stupid crap, and he's borderline cheating, fair. Um, yeah, I don't think it's. I think it makes sense that they're not together anymore. But if you're someone who loves that relationship, I completely understand. If you're like, no, 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 they should never have broken up. But the way they did handle the breakup was really dumb. I'm like, it was over like him playing a video game and she took like. Anyways, I don't know. I'm looking over at OBS here just in case you're wondering like what's going on here. So I'm just making sure frame rate and everything is going fine. To make sure my computer's not dropping frames on me. All right. So okay, yeah, not a hot take, but I could see why it could be one. Did I skip one by accident? No, yeah, I just want to make sure. I thought I skipped over one. Voidlit _ C. Ultimate has the best character writing of all 4 shows. Okay. Let's continue. Okay, let's continue. Ben gets more leveled out. We see Gwen. I guess Gwen and Kevin. I guess is that like their ship name? The GWEVIN. Develop. The ultimate Kevin art Charmcaster gets so developed, gets more developed, I guess. The plot itself can be questionable. Okay, at least you're addressing that. But the character writing and what they did with them is peak. Okay, so I'm glad that I waited before I started like just rambling off and shit, because you do mention the plot itself is questionable. Because to me, Ultimate Alien, even though I'm not finished with Omniverse, I'm not finished with it. To me, Ultimate Alien is the weakest of the 4 shows. It's still great, still has some good moments, but some moments I'm like, come on, guys, what are you doing? But I think the writing, even in Classic, was great in terms of like the reveal of like Grandpa and he was a plumber and everything, and how they handled that over time. You know, even though Ben was, you know, flip-flopping back and forth in terms of like him learning lessons and shit, like the fact that they were developing him learning more about the Omnitrix and still being a dumb kid, Gwen learning more about magic, and then going into Alien Force and how they handled the new trio and Kevin's arc. To me, I don't think Ultimate is the best writing. But then again, if I rewatch the entire show, like entire series, like franchise, in terms of the continuity of all 4 shows when I'm done Omniverse, maybe if I really focus on the writing of the characters instead of everything else, like just focus on that particular element, maybe Ultimate is. But to me, no, I don't think it is. So, hot take, for sure. Hot take. At least you do acknowledge the plot is questionable. I keep thinking it's skipping. It's just the way that the thing's moving. Okay. Vinster0937. Gwen wouldn't be as good as Ben using the Omnitrix. Okay. At various moments in the show, it was shown that even though she is more intelligent, Ben is more creative and can improvise better. Oh. Okay. So basically saying that Gwen is more intelligent and she would have figured out ways to defeat. So maybe she's mentioning that. Okay, I think I'm understanding. So she's saying if Gwen had the Omnitrix, which we saw that as an alternative what if, she wouldn't be as good overall, like in the grand scheme of things, because maybe she wouldn't be as kind of creative in the moment. Because, as you know, Ben calls out an alien, hits it all Omnitrix, hits the Ultimatrix, whatever. It doesn't give him the alien half the time he wants. So he has to figure this out. You go, okay, I guess I gotta figure this out. So the thinking is maybe in this person's mind, if Gwen had the Omnitrix, she wouldn't know how to really navigate when she didn't get the right alien. But who knows? Maybe the Omnitrix would have actually gave her exactly what she wanted. That's the weird thing about the Omnitrix. I have thought about this a little bit. Not really thought about it too much, like in terms of like a talking point for a video. But I wonder if the Omnitrix would have affected different people differently. Because if Grandpa Max had the Omnitrix, would it have given him the aliens he requested, or would there have been, even though he was destined to, it was being taken to him. Of course, it never got to him. What if Gwen used it more effectively? So the thinking is Ben, since he's more creative and can improvise, he's actually would overall be a better person with the Omnitrix than Gwen. Interesting. This actually has me thinking of like a video for this. Okay, that's a really good comment. Thank you. That's really good. But I don't know if it's a hot take necessarily, but the more I think about it, like, that's a good point. Like, in general, regardless, I'm looking for hot takes, but this was really good. So, thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. Clark May. Ben 10 Classic either needed a Season 5 or the writers needed to pick a wider variety of aliens for each episode. It's crazy that Ripjaws never appears in season 3 and only appears twice in season 4. Upgrade only appears twice in season 4. The Halloween aliens only get used once, eats by present day Ben. Iga only gets one non-movie appearance. Ditto only get two present day appearances. Waybig only gets one present day appearance in the movie. I don't know about all, like, if that's true. I don't like Ripjaws and the upgrade. Like, I don't really know for sure if like that's true because I haven't seen Classic in a while. But in terms of your first point, that Classic should have had a season 5 where the writers needed to pick a favorite variety, I don't think it's a hot take. I think that's actually a take that's actually been quite said a lot from Ben 10 fans. But I get where you're coming from. Because to me, I think that there's definitely more story they could have told if they did more seasons of Classic, even though we're running out of time because they only have like the summer. But what if we continue past the summer, Ben's back at school, and we're seeing him navigate being a kid in school, which they were kind of touching on that in terms of a what if thing kind of at the end of Classic. But what if season 5 was Ben and Gwen back in school, and then they were also dealing with other things happening outside, and they were kind of doing that a little bit with Alien Force Ultimate Alien, kinda, but not really. So yeah, I think that would have been interesting. But also through the wider variety of aliens, I think they were really focusing on the aliens that were more popular at the time with with kids, with fans who were watching the show live, what toys were selling more. That was kind of the pushing point, and that's the unfortunate part of like animation back in the day, is that toys were really the selling point. That's why, even though I don't want to sidetrack too much here, but Young Justice, like the reason why that show got canceled after 2 seasons on Cartoon Network, the toys weren't selling, so they didn't continue the show until many years later until streaming. So in this instance, that's probably why they didn't really have more of a variety of aliens being used by Ben, because they were using the ones that were selling more toy-wise and really pushing and propping them up. So, yeah, you're making some good points here, for sure. I think they should have done more, another season with Ben in school and everything to see how that would have done. Once again, checking OBS. Okay, continuing on. Oh, see, they like expanded the thing there. What the hell? Sorry. Okay. Castle Buyers 6134. Hot take. I love both, but I think Yuri is the better Ben. Ooh. Ooh, this is a hot take. Okay, so he's talking about Yuri Lowenthal, who has voiced Ben since Alien Force, now through Omniverse, and he's comparing it to Tara Strong's Ben Classic 10. Of course, she's been back voicing the character in little, moments here and there, and then, of course, now quite a little bit here in Omniverse. That is interesting, because to me, I have that nostalgic, even though saying nostalgic for a show I only started watching a few years ago for the channel, but I think I still love young Ben more, even though I've gotten a lot more of Yuri Lowenthal's Ben, teenager Ben. I still love that classic, because as soon as classic Ben came back in Ultimate Alien in that one episode, holy crap, it brought back so many fond memories of watching that original run of that show. And yeah, I love Yuri. I love Yuri Lowenthal. Love him to death for many things he's done in his career. Love his Ben. But to me, I think Tara Strong just like, if Yuri's right here, Tara's right here in terms of her Ben. It's really close, but I still prefer Tara. So that's a hot take. It's a hot take, but okay. Okay, Indie Cinemaster 4699. Ben 10 Race Against Time is a better film than Ben 10 Alien Storm. Okay, it's odd how different they are, considering both are directed by Alex Winter. Really? He directed both? I know he directed Alien Storm. I didn't know he directed Race Against Time too. Yeah, this is a hot take. Because Race Against Time is not better than. Then again, look, I'm not saying that because I'm saying that freaking Alien Swarm is a masterpiece. It's not. But thinking back on the films, I feel like I should rewatch them again. I should rewatch those two films again and just like maybe do like a retrospective or something on them. Even though I only saw them like within the last couple years or so, but yeah, this is a hot take because to me, Race Against Time is abysmal. It's terrible. Alien Swarm. It's like if Race Against Time is here, once again, like the rating comparison, if Race Against Time is here at the bottom of the barrel, Alien Swarm is like about here, right? And then we have like this whole like tier of other stuff that's going on in terms of like movies and TV shows that are actually good. They're both really bad movies. But I think Alien Swarm has overall better casting, even though the Grandpa Max in Alien Swarm is horrible too. At least Ben is a little better in a sense. I had to rewatch the movies to be honest with you, but from what I remember, Alien Swarm was definitely better. But that's not saying much. But that's a hot take. But interesting. I didn't know Alex directed both. That's didn't know that. All right. Did it skip again? No, it did not. I'm double checking because the one time I don't check, it's gonna skip. Atlas underscore Vane. Ben's dynamic with Rook is better than the UA. Oh my god, really? Ben's dynamic with Rook is better than freaking Gwen and Kevin? Oh my god. I shouldn't be that shocked though. Because there's gonna be I should have known there was gonna be something. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on all these because I don't want to, spend too much time on one and then not give someone else's comment enough time. But wow. So I won't sit here forever. All I will say is this is definitely a hot take because to me, I like Rook. I like the character. I like what they're doing with the character. But Gwen and Kevin, I mean, even though I still prefer Gwen and Grandpa Max as the trio with Ben over Ben, Gwen, and Kevin. Gwen and Kevin and Ben, especially their dynamic at the start of Alien Force and how that was just very uncomfortable and awkward, but they made it work. And then over time, the growth and everything and how they got connected and how just things just started working out. Of course, Gwen and Kevin's relationship. You can't say that that's not as good as that's worse than Rook. At least for me. I've not finished Omniverse. I understand we got a lot more Gwen and Kevin because we had a lot of Gwen, of course. She was freaking a main character in Classic. But then we saw, of course, she was a main character, of course, in Alien Force Ultimate Alien. Kevin was a kind of recurring villain, and then, of course, he came into the mix and part of the trio. That is a hot take. But maybe, when I finish Omniverse, maybe I'll go, well, you know what? I can kind of see maybe why you would say that. But for right now, that is a hot take. That is a hot take. Wow. Okay, sorry for the cut there. I had to go do something. Now I'm back. Let's continue on here. Let's do it. We're good? All right, we're good. Making sure. All right, let's continue. Julian Rodriguez, 30... Try that again. Julian Rodriguez, 3417. That was a flub. Wow. Hot take. I think Benton Omniverse has the best art style in animation of all the shows. Okay, because how smooth and fluidity of the animation. I would say that's a hot take. I would. Only because, well, there's three animation styles before we get to the reboot, because I've seen like an image or two of Ben 10 the reboot and I'm like, holy crap. But because I'm like, that's Ben, really? So classic Alien Force Ultimate Alien is pretty much the same thing, like it's the same animation style. And then Omniverse, I like Omniverse's animation. I do. Personally, I prefer Alien Force Ultimate Alien or Ben 10 Classic over Omniverse. I don't know, like I'm getting used to the art style. I'm getting used to the look of the characters, but I'm still just kind of on Ben. Like Ben's design's okay, but I really do prefer that original classic or Alien Force era, or as they say UAF. I guess that's basically abbreviating the both shows, basically, because the only thing that really changed when you went to Alien Force Ultimate Alien was, of course, the freaking Ultimatrix and all that shit, and their own Rust Bucket, the plane, and all that, and then a few other things. But still, it's pretty much the same show, kinda. So yeah, to me that's a hot take because I prefer the other animation styles over Omniverse. I'm enjoying Omniverse, and I think the more I'm watching the show, the more I'm enjoying the animation. So I get that point in terms of fluidity and the smoothness of it. But yeah, for me, I'm gonna stick with the earlier shows. But good. It's a hot take. There you go. ADRH21. Is that a Pidgey in your profile? Okay. Rook is better than Gwen and Kevin. Ooh, it's kind of similar to the other one of Rook's dynamic, but this is saying even more so. Rook is better than Gwen and Kevin, like saying I guess you're saying he's a better character than both of them. Ooh, that's a hot take. I like it. It doesn't even say hot take. It just says Rook is better than Gwen and Kevin. I disagree, but then again, I'm not seeing the entirety of Omniverse, but based on Ben and Gwen's growth, and I even noticed this more so when we got to the whole swapping of the minds of Ben's, where young Ben is in older Ben's body, older Ben's body's in young Ben's body, and you see where older Ben and younger Ben's body is talking to young Gwen and basically saying, you know, I miss you. I don't get to see you often. Like, he's treating her very differently. And then you see where older Gwen, like present day Omniverse Gwen, is dealing with the younger Ben and the older Ben's body and all that. And the fact that they're at each other because he's really just egging her on and bringing it back to like it was back in the day. I just love that. And it goes to show their dynamic. And it's not the fact just because they're cousins. I just think the chemistry and just what they've done with Ben, Gwen is really, really good. And the way they've developed the brotherly connection with Ben and Kevin. So Rook is better than them. I 100% disagree. But if you believe that 100%, awesome. Great. I just, no, not for me. No. I like Rook. But no. But hey, that is a very hot take. Benton Theorist, here we go. Okay. I didn't say this in the previous video because I didn't think it was a hot take, but the whole concept of Anodites and Ben and Gwen's grandma being an alien sucks. Okay, alright. It doesn't make any sense because of them implying she was dead in the originals. Did they imply? Maybe, I think they did. Maybe, yeah, okay. And also, one of the best concepts of the original show was Human Kid being able to turn into all of these crazy aliens. Now that Human Kid was actually part alien as well, that totally recontextualizes the original show that takes a certain enjoyment out of it. That was a really bad choice that should have never been made. And taking away Gwen's magic and turning her into an alien was was one of the worst decisions of the franchise. Yes, even worse than Ultimate Ben 10,000. Had to dig an Ultimate Ben 10,000 there. I just love when Ben 10 Theorists, for the meme videos, sent me those photos of like the other aliens that Ultimate Ben 10 turns into, or Ben 10,000. They're so fucking funny and ridiculous. You were making a good point. I don't think it's a hot take either, but I think it's a very good point you're bringing up here because it really does change. Like, it really was a big shift. I do love the fact, and I'll say this, I do love the fact that Gwen is stronger and she has, you know, she is part alien and everything, and how powerful she can become being an Anodite. But at the same time, yeah, I do miss the fact that Gwen was actually initially learning magic and getting better at it through spell books and training and everything. And now we found out, actually, no, she's always been prone to do this because she's an alien. She's part alien. And so is Ben. So, yeah, I see that. So, if you're somebody, I guess, who loves the change they made, this is to you as a hot take, saying this sucks, this is stupid. But I think there's been a number of people who have commented saying that they agree 100% with your take on this in terms of, like, when I got to that point where we learned in Alien Force that Gwen is part alien, that this is where things are, you're starting to see the major shifts and changes in the continuity of things. So, yeah, this is 100% a good point you're making here. So, not a hot take, but it could be a hot take to some people if they really love the change and everything and the progression they did with Gwen's character when they moved on to Alien Force and Ultimate Alien, and of course Omniverse. I still love the character, but I kind of wish they would have done maybe something different, or maybe they would have handled it better. Maybe they would have even hinted or teased. Maybe she's part alien in Classic. Maybe the blow and the change, like the blow, the impact, you know what I mean, wouldn't have been as strong. Maybe. Pokey Play Fusions. Okay, cool picture of your Pikachu there. Argit is the most well-written character in the show, and he's the best character. This might be a troll, but I think I think my friend put this in there for a reason. This might be a troll, but he is the most well-written character. Hell no. Hell to the no, he's not. And he's the best character. Argit is just, no, Argit's just terrible. No. Hey, sure. If there are people who comment every time Argit shows up going, yeah, like they're so excited because they can't wait for me to go, fuck, because I get so mad when Argit shows up. Like last time when he showed up in Omniverse, I forget what was it, season 2 or something, or was it season 1? It might have been sometime in season 2. All I know is when I think he stepped out of like stepped out from the darkness or whatever. I'm like, fucking shit. I got so angry. This might be a troll, but hey, it's funny. It's funny. Evan Rollins, 5733. Benton Omniverse is the best Ben 10 show. Ooh. Okay. I've not finished Omniverse, so it's hard for me to say that you're right or wrong, but based on what I have seen in its entirety, I still prefer Ben 10 Classic. I still do, and Alien Force to some extent as well. But I'm really loving what they're doing with Omniverse. So maybe I will agree with you once I'm completed the show. But you're putting your stamp there, like, hey, I'm saying this is the best. And a number of people have commented saying, like, maybe not so much it's their favorite show or the best show of the four shows, or the continuity of, you know, starting with Ben 10 Classic all the way through. But like, there's some of the best things they love about Ben 10 is in Omniverse, or some of the best episodes, some of the best character stuff is in Omniverse. So there's some really cool stuff they're doing here. The redesigns, it's a different story, but I really am enjoying what they're doing and how they're kind of handling just all this variety of, like, Undertown and all that. It's really interesting and I'm really digging it. But I still prefer Alien Force, and I guess lesser extent to Ultimate Alien because it's connection that's tied into it. But Ben 10 Classic, because I still love that show to death so much. Ben 10 Classic. But yeah, okay, decent take, decent take. Volt Dev. Fasttrack is a better combat alien than Accelerate. Okay, even though he is slower than Accelerate, that doesn't mean he is so slow. He outran Animo's missile twice effortlessly. That's already faster than the speed of sound, and fair that up with his superior strength and acrobatics. People only hate on him because he's replaced Accelerate. Okay. Oh, hit the mic there. Oops. Sorry about that. I think that's kind of a hot take to say, because you're saying he's a better combat alien, but basically you're saying you prefer him over Accelerate in terms of, you know, how he's able to. He's better at combat. So yeah, I think that's a hot take. To me, Fasttrack, they should have never, like, I guess it was like an animation issue, that's why they couldn't handle Accelerate. But to me, look, like, they figured it out in Omniverse, so why couldn't they figure it out in Ultimate Alien and Alien Force? What the fuck's going on here, guys? So yeah, that's kind of frustrating. But yeah, I think Fasttrack, they did, I think it was only to promote a video game. It was only to promote like a racing game or some bullshit, which is funny. A speedster alien is in a racing game, and he's not racing. I guess he's in a cart or something, from what I'm understanding. I don't think you're racing against a speed alien that can run real fast, and he's not in a cart and you are. I don't know if that's. I don't think that's how they're doing it, but still. Yeah. I prefer Accelerate 100%. Accelerate. Yeah. Oh, it's all of them. Okay. But yeah, Accelerate I prefer over Fasttrack for sure. So okay, so that was some interesting takes for sure. Some definite hot takes, some definite good takes, and some interesting comments for sure. Thank you guys so much for commenting, and I do apologize for not picking more. I said, you know, don't give me too many, because from what I remember, I think there was like over 100 comments, so there's no way I could have went through all of them, which would take forever. But yeah, I appreciate you all for commenting. I think after when this video goes up, I'll actually go back and read more of the comments that I didn't respond to, and just kind of read them and everything. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for being a part of this video and help. And can't talk today. It's been a day. I need to go relax. That's what I need to do. But thank you guys so much for giving your comments and helping make this video become a reality, because if it wasn't for your hot takes, I couldn't make this video. So I appreciate you guys so much. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm curious to know what you guys thought about some of the hot takes, some of the things I covered in this video here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on some of those things, and let me know if you agree or disagree with myself or the person who made the comment. Let me know your thoughts. Talk to you guys soon. Peace out.